Hello, this is Vince, and this is a personal video that is very practically useful for your everyday life. So I want to be very clear. There are a lot of soda tier lists out there, and that is not necessarily what this is. This is not a tier list that indicates my opinion of the quality of a soda and then claiming it to be factual. What this is a practical guide. If you are going to a party and you want to bring something with me in mind, I want to give you a resource to use to determine what you're going to bring to the party. I've had a few bad experiences with people assuming my interests. One guy heard that I liked soda, and so he brought a bunch of I bought a 24-pack of regular Coca-Cola, and soon we'll talk about why that's a problem. And a lot of times, especially in the United States, every time I go to a party, they only have regular soda. And only when I went to a supplement superstore, which is like a nutrition place, one of their parties, did they have diet soda. So this is actually going to be focused on diet or otherwise sugar-free sodas. We are assuming that artificial sweeteners do not count as sugar. However, we are not going to be completely ignoring the concept of artificial sweetener. We will kind of delve into that a little bit, but only a little bit. So to get started, so I just kind of to get you up to speed. So these are roughly in quality order in terms of how good you should feel about yourself when bringing a drink. But I want to be clear on how we define each of these tiers. So definitely bring is more of this is a universal thing. It's definitely something that I'll like, and it's a very safe choice because it's not just what I would like, but it's what a lot of others would like as well. Not required, but especially appreciated this is more for street cred. So it may not be that it is the best tasting soda, but there is something unique about this drink that makes it a special bring, and at the very least, also has the benefit of being a very fruitful conversation starter. Pretty good is exactly how it sounds. I enjoy the taste of it. Indifferent is essentially if I would usually only drink it as a last resort. If it's something that, it's not that it's bad, but even if it's bad, I would still drink it. But it's more of like, I just, if you bring it, if you have like two indifferents, I'll be like, I don't care. If you have an indifferent and a good, I will prefer the good. I would just say it's just not good, but it's not terrible either. And do not bring is exactly what it sounds like. Don't bring it, or else it will be another traumatic memory for the books. So let's actually just begin with and completely just finish off in one blow the do not bring. This. So I want to be very clear. This is not Coca-Cola that I'm referring to. This is regular Coca-Cola, as you can see from the red cap and the red little thing here. Do not bring sugary sodas. I tell people that if I drank as much sugary soda, as much as I drink sugar-free soda, I would be extremely fat and most likely have diabetes and a plethora of other issues. So the issues I do have are simply psychological. So just want to be very clear, do not bring regular soda if you want to please me. You don't have to, again, this is assuming that you're bringing it for me, all right? Or if it's a party for me, all right? But next in line is we have, I'm just kind of going down the rows here. We have Diet Coke. So Diet Coke is, I have mixed feelings about it. So Diet Coke is good. Honestly, I might argue it's pretty good. But I wouldn't, but now I'm kind of wrestling between whether it is a pretty good or a definitely bring, because there's nothing special about Diet, it's just Diet Coke. But I do find that Diet Coke is better than what you would think. But I'm just saying, I want to say it's pretty good, right? Like, it's not like God tier. It's not the greatest thing, but it is better than average. When I see that someone has Diet Coke in their fridge, I am happy about that. Now, Coke Zero, on the other hand, this is actually notably good. I live and breathe this stuff. My younger brother also does, and so I'm going to put this in definitely bring. Not only is it the primary soda that I drink, even in the Netherlands, but it is also primary drink I drink in St. Louis. It is the primary drink that my brother drinks, and so if for some reason I need to incentivize him to come to the party as well, he will also be satisfied and will not feel the need to bring Coke Zero on his own. So also because when I drink Coke Zero in St. Louis, it's his, and then it's just, there's tension involved. So I definitely need you to bring Coke Zero to the party. Next, we have, I'm just going to go with a little bit out of order here. So your standard Diet Mountain Dew. So with Diet Mountain Dew, I kind of have mixed feelings about this because there are some cases, like because Diet Mountain Dew is not a dark soda, and so it will taste pretty different from most dark sodas and even other non-dark sodas. And so I would say at the minimum, Diet Mountain Dew is a pretty good. However, Diet Mountain Dew does not exist in the Netherlands. And so I'm actually going to say that this has a special quality of if you're in the or if you're in the Netherlands and you get this, hell yeah, man. But even if it's in the United States, like you're kind of doing me a favor and you're saying, okay, this is an exclusive and it's pretty good. And so, you know, I will give you props for that and usually use that as, you know, I will usually complain. Probably the first thing is they don't have this in the Netherlands. And then people will be like, oh, you live in the Netherlands? And then it's like a whole thing where they think I'm cultured, or I like to believe that they think that, when in reality it actually means nothing. And I am just having it, it's a whole thing. Now let's kind of go down the line of Mountain Dews. So next we have kind of the next installment is Mountain Dew Code Red. So Code Red, I will say, essentially if I use the logic of not required but especially appreciated, Code Red, we're going to assume that we're already in the universe of the United States. And I will just say that Code Red, I feel like I have a special liking for it, but a lot of people don't care for it. But I really just, in my mind, it just screams pretty good. The thing is, it's not good enough for me to, well, it's not universally available. And so definitely bring, that would be kind of a high bar. But also Code Red isn't like universally liked. And so I feel like it'd be selfish to put it in the definitely bring. But I do like it. I do think it's pretty good. Now, next is Mountain Dew Baja Blast. So this is actually a bit harder to find even in the US. A lot of Walmarts have it. But it also depends on whether they have the zero variant available, which I'm going to assume that they do. So if you straight up went to Taco Bell and got me one, well, you don't have a 12-pack, but I would really appreciate that because like it's very special. And it's a U.S. exclusive as far as I understand it. It also means that you have some connection to Taco Bell, and that is a big plus for me. Now, into the more niche kind of areas, I want to I'm going to take care of this one. What's simple. Mountain Dew Zero, I don't really care. Strangely enough, I believe that Mountain Dew Zero is sometimes categorized as an energy drink, mainly because when I was at Nebraska, there were two vending machines next to each other. There were sodas and there were energy drinks. And Mountain Dew Zero was included in the energy drink vending machine. Also, because it does have way more caffeine than Mountain Dew and the Mountain Dew varieties. And it just doesn't taste as good. But the last one is all of the varieties of Mountain Dew Zero. There's a crap ton of Mountain Dew Zeros. And I'm just going to say on average, like, I don't really even especially appreciate it. And it's also kind of a high bar because this stuff is more expensive. I did quit soda, and then every time a new Mountain Dew flavor comes out, I bought it, and then it destroys my, I kind of relapse. So I will say that that's pretty good, is the alternative flavors of Mountain Dew. Zero, of course. So next, we have Dr. Pepper, again, specifically Diet Dr. Pepper. Now, Diet Dr. Pepper, I have very mixed feelings about it. Because Diet Dr. Pepper has, like, a unique taste. Like, if you gave me Dr. Pepper, I would very easily be able to tell it's Dr. Pepper. But a lot of times when I'm anticipating Dr. Pepper, I'm usually left disappointed. And also, if it's a dark soda, like, dark sodas definitely have gravity against them. Gravity, okay. And so I'm thinking of putting it in the indifferent category. Because if you say, do you want diet? Because when I think of Diet Dr. Pepper, my stomach just bloats up and I just get uncomfortable. And so I'm putting it in indifferent for now. Now we have Diet Root Beer. Now this A&W is the brand that happens to come up when you type root beer, but this applies to root beer in general. So this is kind of the same vibe as Dr. Pepper. It's a very unique taste. And this one's very mood dependent. And so like there's a lot of times where I'll feel like root beer, but if I have like 2 or 3 root beers, then I'll be like, I'm freaking sick of root beer. I don't even consider this soda. However, I do feel more positively towards root beer than I do towards Dr. Pepper. And so I'm going to put it in the pretty good category. Now, this is cream soda. Now, the image is substantially worse, so you can barely tell. But cream soda also has a unique taste. And there are, again, phases where I do kind of crave cream soda. And also a benefit that's also not, that I forgot to mention with the A&W root beer, or the root beer, is that there is no caffeine in it, which is really nice. And so I think when it comes to sodas, actually I might do some reorganizing here now that I'm realizing the caffeine aspect. So with root beer actually being caffeine free, I do prefer that over cream soda. So I'm going to put the cream soda in the pretty good category. No. What I'm going to do is I'm going to let root beer be pretty good. Cream soda is less common. It's more niche. I don't think it tastes as good, but it's also caffeine free. So it has a lot of perks to it other than taste. So I'm going to put it in the especially appreciated. Now we have another one, Diet Pepsi. So Diet Pepsi, I think, is actually better than Diet Coke. And obviously, I think it's actually more common than, its counterpart Pepsi Zero or Pepsi Max in the EU. And so I'm going to put this as a universal definitely bring. Now, a lot of you guys might think, oh, well, of course, Coke and Pepsi are the same. They're absolutely not. And if you are one of those people who does believe that they're the same and does argue that they are pretty much the same, you can go into the do not bring tier. Just put yourself there. Just don't even show up. So, but it is distinct, but I do agree that it is a bit similar to Coke in the sense that it's a dark soda that tastes good. Now, Pepsi Max in the EU or in the United States, I'll say it's Pepsi Zero or Pepsi 10. I live off of this in the EU, but in the United States, Pepsi Zero is not really one thing of choice. This has essentially the Coke Zero qualities, but it is kind of like a substitute here. And I just don't get a good feeling by having be an expectation that you bring Pepsi Zero to a party. It just doesn't feel right. So I will put it in the pretty good category, mainly because I do like it. I do enjoy it. And, and these kind of apply to like any cherry varieties too. Like if you have cherry Coke or cherry Pepsi, delicious, love it. But we're not really covering that detail. But now orange soda. Now it's not limited to Sunkist. It is also, and it's not limited to the Diet /Zero. So essentially if it's Sunkist or Orange Crush, Diet Zero, we're kind of putting that all into one category. Definitely bring, it's a bit of a high bar, but I definitely really like it. So the thing is, I think Sunkist is different in the sense it does have caffeine, but it's reduced caffeine, but it's also just like a non-standard soda. It's not a soda that people usually bring. Because again, if it were a dark soda, then it would be more likely to be brought. However, Sunkist just generally isn't around when you go to a party, even if it's regular. So I would really appreciate a Sunkist because, again, as I just mentioned, people don't bring fruit sodas to parties for some reason. So I will appreciate it if you did bring Sunkist. Now, Diet Rite Zero is a very special, this is a very niche soda that I'm just going to tell you, it's going there right now. So the thing about Diet Rite is that it's owned, I think it's created by the Dr. Pepper company or something. And so what's very special about Diet Rite that I learned when I was in grad school is the thing is, as an addict, I do want to kind of assume that any ingredient I am intaking through soda, I am going to be taking in very large quantities of it. So with Diet Rite Zero, the one thing that it does not have that almost every other soda has is no sodium. And it is a dark soda, and it has no caffeine. It has almost nothing, very few ingredients, kind of like the last one. And when it comes to this, it's a bit pricier, and it's also extremely hard to find. And if you try to order it online, it is extremely expensive. But you can usually pick it up at Walmart. But I loved talking about this. I remember I like dropped a bunch of it on my way inside my apartment in Lincoln. I was just like, "You ever heard of this Diet Rite Zero stuff? You never find it. It's super rare." And the old lady was like, "Yeah, okay, kid, like move." And so, in that way, Diet Rite Zero was, I just have this obsession with it. So if you brought it, I would definitely mention that. It would make me look pretty cultured, I think. But lastly, we have Zevia. So I'm gonna put this in indifferent. So it has similar qualities to Diet Rite in the sense that it is caffeine free. It does not have sodium, to my knowledge, but also it is sweetened with stevia, which I believe has the less potential for detrimental effects than other artificial sweeteners. But the thing is with Zevia, so it took me many tries before I could tolerate Zevia. I think black cherry is the only flavor that I could argue would go into the pretty good category. But otherwise, Zevia is like a placeholder for me. Like when I go to my aunt's house, she has lots of Zevia, which I'm thankful for because this stuff is super expensive. It's kind of like a placeholder. It's very much like I'll drink it because I'm an addict, not because I enjoy it, except for the black cherry. I do enjoy that. But these are kind of like the more common sodas, except Diet Rite and maybe Zevia. When it comes to sparkling seltzers, you throw it in the do not bring. When it comes to other fruity sodas, as long as it's diet, I think it can go along with the orange. And if there are any other, and also when it comes to like cherry variants, because there are so many variants, I could go into this all day, but I want this to be a useful and rather concise tool to help you make the decision of what to bring if you are going to a party that I'm going to be at. So again, this is not a quality tier list. This is a tier list of what will I think when you bring a specific drink to a party. And so I want you to just be well prepared in that event. Okay? So thank you very much for watching if you made it to the end. And, I'm going to go get some more Coke Zero.